The fate of all reality hangs in the balance as an enormous, magical entity claws its way out of a dark, interdimensional portal over New York City. Powerful magic slams against Doctor Strange, the Sorcerer Supreme, yet even his mighty spells seem to only anger the creature, causing it to grow larger and stronger. Struggling to hold the line against this overwhelming magical threat, Doctor Strange realizes he alone cannot stop it. So he makes a desperate broadcast across the multiverse, calling out to any magic users he knows of, rallying them to come to Earth 616 to help defend it from this terrible threat. But what if Doctor Strange knew there were other heroes who might not be magic users, but who, with some training, could become powerful wielders of the mystic arts? What if, to save the day, Doctor Strange assembled a team of unlikely Sorcerers Supreme? There are few heroes more ingenious than Tony Stark. While Bruce Banner may be more powerful, and Peter Parker certainly has the most potential, when it comes to understanding the world around him and finding clever solutions, it's Tony Stark who stands without equal. That's why Doctor Strange seeks him out at his high-tech home in Malibu, California, hoping to recruit him to his Sorcerer Supreme initiative. "Right, Tony," says Doctor Strange, "your technological mind will be able to read the code of magic like it's S-binary code." He extends his hand to shake, but Tony looks at it with disgust. Yuck, germs. They make gloves for a reason. Instead, he dabs Doctor Strange's hand off with a magically sanitized napkin. "Thanks, Jarvis." Tony then explains how powerful the combined might of sorcerers could be, showing him simulations of what could be done. Finally, Tony agrees to try it out. But being Iron Man, he doesn't want to wear silly robes while doing magic. So instead, Doctor Strange helps him create a pair of magical gauntlets that automatically cast whatever spell he wants with a snap of his fingers. These powerful gauntlets not only let him cast spells hands-free, but also contain built-in targeting computers that allowed him to fire off multiple spells at once with perfect accuracy. It was kind of like an upgrade to Iron Man's existing repulsors, but these magical blasts could stun his opponents or even suck the magic right out of them. With his genius and Doctor Strange's training, Tony Stark became the Iron Sorcerer. Easily the most technologically advanced magic user in the world. Being a genius was great, but sometimes raw power is what you need most in a Sorcerer Supreme. That's why Doctor Strange sought out Bruce Banner, a man who has literally split himself in half to keep his alter ego under control. Speaking of which, where is he now? Well, after the events of World War Hulk, Banner's public persona had taken a serious hit. Even though he'd saved the lives of everyone on Earth, the Illuminati had exiled him from the planet. Now, sailing through space, searching for a solution to his problem, Bruce Banner's ship crash-landed on a remote moon in the Himalayas. Fortunately, the impact separated the Hulk from Bruce's consciousness long enough for him to repair his ship and continue his search. But unfortunately, crashing on the moon had caused the nearby Mysticalcarantecker to destabilize, sending a huge surge of magical energy through Bruce's body and attracting the attention of Doctor Strange. Realizing that Banner may have just been what he was looking for, Doctor Strange went to him and explained, "Mastering the mystic arts would give you the ultimate control over your rage. You would finally be able to control the Hulk." Banner thought about this for a moment before agreeing to give it a try. But having spent so long running from his problems, Bruce didn't feel worthy of becoming a Sorcerer Supreme. So Doctor Strange simply helped him see that there was no shame in seeking help, and then helped him set up a new lab on the grounds of the Sanctum Sanctorum, letting him borrow some of his books and equipment until he could get his own stuff back online. Banner wasted no time getting to work. He analyzed samples of magical creatures, studied every book he could get his hands on, and tried out every spell that he thought might help. And gradually, Bruce began to get a handle on his newfound abilities. He learned that his gamma energy could actually be focused and shaped by his magical energies, allowing him to generate concussive gamma blasts from his hands, similar to those of the Hulk, but far more controllable. He also learned a wide variety of defensive spells that created force fields and energy shields around himself and others. Finally, developed a meditation technique that allowed him to separate his mind from his gamma-powered alter ego, allowing him to calm himself down and focus his mind. In his Sorcerer Supreme uniform, we see a sleek black and green suit that projects his magical abilities, giving him a sort of living force field to protect him from harm. While raw power can be useful when it comes to the mystical arts, sometimes it's better to have a student with pure potential, someone young and capable of great things. And there's no one better than Peter Parker, currently in his second year at Midtown High School. Peter is hanging out on the roof with MJ when Dr. Strange arrives and tells him, "I sense a great untapped potential in you, Peter Parker. I believe you could be a Sorcerer Supreme." Peter thought about this for a moment. "Well, I already have homework. Do I really want to do more homework?" "This isn't homework, Peter. This is destiny." "Sorry, Mr. Parker, but I have a test coming up tomorrow, and I have to study." After all, Peter was going to be a scientist one day, so he couldn't afford to fall behind in school. Sure, he wasn't exactly known for being super flexible, but if he wanted to recruit the best, then he needed to adapt to their needs, not the other way around. So he agreed to wait until Saturday morning when Peter was done with his chores and errands to finally begin his training. At first, Peter struggled with controlling his abilities. Magic was very different from science, but Peter was used to feeling awkward and powerless, so it was a natural fit. But unlike his other students, Peter's powers came naturally to him. He just felt it deep in his bones. He soon began casting powerful spells with ease and started building intricate webs out of raw magical energy, which he used in combination with his teleportation portals to swing around the city at night. Quickly mastering the mystical arts, Peter proved himself to be a natural at being a Sorcerer Supreme. He wore a custom version of his Spider-Man costume, which was coated with magical runes that amplified his powers. During the battle with the giant monster, we saw Peter using these magical webs to ensnare its limbs, then teleporting around it, blasting it with pure magical energy, stunning the beast long enough for the others to regroup. As the battle continued, it became clear that defeating this creature would take everything Dr. Strange and his new students had. The giant monster smashed through the streets of New York, destroying everything in its path. It fired bolts of dark magic at the heroes. But Iron Man's repulsor blasts intercepted them, turning the magic into glowing souvenirs that flew back at the beast. Meanwhile, Bruce Banner projected magical force fields to protect the civilians and other buildings, while Spider-Man used his teleportation powers to dodge the creature's attacks, then blasted it with magical webbing. But despite their best efforts, the creature kept coming, its dark magic growing stronger and stronger. It was almost too powerful for them to handle. However, as the battle raged on, something incredible happened. Tony Stark, Bruce Banner, and Peter Parker began to work together, coordinating their attacks to create an unstoppable force. Stark used his magnetic powers to amplify Banner's gamma blasts. Banner used his force fields to concentrate Peter's magical blasts, and Peter used his webs to entangle the creature, holding it still for his teammates to attack. Working together, they unleashed the full force of their powers, driving the monster back. As the creature grew weaker and weaker, Peter Parker took the lead. Using his magical webs, he held the monster in place, while Iron Man and Hulk unleashed a barrage of gamma and magical blasts. The monster let out a final roar as it was banished from this dimension. Defeating this threat saved the world, but the question remained, should this team stay together? The new Sorcerers Supreme stood together on the rooftop of the Sanctum Sanctorum, watching the sun rise over a battered but still standing New York City. They had done it. Together, they had defeated a threat that even Dr. Strange had struggled to handle alone. But as the adrenaline began to fade and the reality of their situation sank in, they couldn't help but wonder if they should stay together. The three students looked at their teacher, waiting for him to say something. After all, it was his idea to bring them together. It was his plan to train them, and it was his responsibility to guide them. Finally, Dr. Strange spoke. "Today, you have proven yourselves to be powerful magic users, but the world doesn't need a Sorcerer Supreme. The world needs an army of them." The three students looked at each other in surprise. Could this be what they were meant to do? Become a team of Sorcerers Supreme? The answer, of course, was up to them. But if they chose to stay together, they would have to be careful. For with great power comes great responsibility. The new Sorcerers Supreme have saved the day, but should this team exist? Is this much magical power too dangerous in one group? Tell us what you think in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe for our next epic What If build.